Greetings, welcome to this new video about Supermesh analysis. Solve the problem number 5. Let's consider this network consisting of 5 resistors labeled R1 through R5 as well as voltage sources Vs and 2 current sources IA and IB. The question is to calculate the mesh currents. Let's move on to the solution. First, let's begin by defining the number of meshes in this network. It's evident that there are 4 meshes. This is mesh number 1, mesh number 2, mesh number 3, and mesh number 4. Now let's proceed to assign the mesh currents in this network. And I will consider I1 the current in mesh 1, I2 is the current in mesh 2, I3 is the current in mesh 3 and I4 is the current in mesh 4. The mesh currents are chosen in the clockwise direction. After we finish the assignment of the mesh currents, we need to remove the 2 branches containing the current source IA and IB. Then we obtain our supermesh. By applying KVL in the supermesh, we can write R2I2 plus R1I1 plus R3I3 plus R4I3 minus I4 is equal to 0. By replacing the resistors with their numerical values, we obtain 6I2 plus 2I1 plus 4I3 plus 8I3 minus I4 is equal to 0. If we continue simplifying this equation, we obtain 6I2 plus 2I1 plus 12I3 minus 8I4 is equal to 0, and I will call this equation number 1. We go to mesh 1. By applying KVL in mesh 1, we can write R4I4 minus I3 plus R5I4 plus Vs is equal to 0. By replacing the resistors and the voltage with their numerical values, we obtain 8I4 minus I3 plus 2I4 plus 10 is equal to 0. If we continue simplifying this equation, we obtain finally 10I4 minus 8I3 plus 10 is equal to 0. And I will call this equation number 2. We currently have 2 equations with 4 unknowns, which means we require 2 additional equations to solve this problem. In order to get 2 other equations, let's focus on the current source IA and IB. We can write IA is equal to I2 minus I1. That means I2 minus I1 is equal to 5. And I will call this equation number 3. Let's move on to IB. IB is equal to I3 minus I2. That means I3 minus I2 is equal to 3. And I will call this equation number 4. After we finish applying the supermesh analysis, we obtain 4 equations with 4 unknowns. We still only need to solve those equations in order to obtain the mesh currents I1, I2, I3 and I4. Let's start first with equation number 3. We have I2 minus I1 is equal to 5. If we rewrite this equation, we obtain I1 is equal to negative 5 plus I2. We write I1 in terms of I2, and I will call this equation A. Let's move on now to equation number 4. We have I3 minus I2 is equal to 3. We can write I3 in terms of I2. I3 is equal to 3 plus 2I2 and I will call this equation B. Let's move on to question number 2. We have 10I4 minus 8I3 plus 10 is equal to 0. That means I4 is equal to 0.8I3 minus 1. I will call this C. By substituting B in C, we can write I4 also in terms of I2. I4 is equal to 0.8 multiplying by 3 plus I2 minus 1. If we continue simplifying this, we obtain I4 is equal to 1.4 plus 0.8 I2. Here we also rewrite or write I4 in terms of I2, and I will call this D. By substituting A, B, and D in 1, we derive one equations in terms of I2. If we continue simplifying this equation, we obtain 13.6 I2 plus 14.8 is equal to 0. That means I2 is equal to negative 14.8 over 13.6. We get negative 1.0.9 amps. Now we already found I2, then the problem will be easy. We go back to equation A. We have I1 is equal to negative 5 plus I2. If we replace I2 with its value, we obtain I1 is equal to negative 6.09 amps. We go now to equation B. We have I3 plus is equal to 3 plus I2. If we replace I2 with its value, we obtain I3 is equal to 1.91 amps. And the last one, if we go to equation C, we have I4 is equal to 0.8 I3 minus 1. If we replace I3 with its value, we obtain I4 is equal to 0.529 amps. After completing the calculation, we conduct a simulation using SPICE to verify our results. Now let's proceed to the SPICE environment. Here is our network drawn in SPICE simulator. This is our two current source IA and IB, and our voltage source VS, and our resistors R1, R2, R3, R4, and R5. If we go to analysis, this analysis calculate the nodal voltages. We obtain this is the current I1 is equal to negative 6.09 is the same we have done by calculation. I2 is equal to negative 109 amps is also the same we have done by calculation. I3 is 1.91 amps is also the same, and the last one I4 is 529.41 milliamps is also the same value we have done by calculation. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any question, do not hesitate to contact me by email or leave a comment under this video and I will answer you as soon as possible. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and share. See you next time in another example about Supermesh analysis. Take care and bye bye.